Hi Guy, welcome to the Saturday vlog for the 23rd of July. I don't know, I've done one of these for a couple of weeks, but I didn't really have much to talk about last week, so anyway, let's just jump straight into it. First up, bit of a request for help here. I mean, as you know from my last unpacking video, picked up an N-Gage QD. The problem is I had one game with it which works fine and everything, but they're very difficult to get all the games for it. Most of them are just not available anymore. They didn't even sell them towards the end. They were all available online, so you have to depend on ROMs. Problem is, I've managed to get the ROMs without any problem and picked them up from Emu Paradise, but I can't get any of them to work. I was at it all last night. I've been at it all day. I mean, it's 4:30 in the afternoon for me. I've just spent 2.5 hours solid trying to get it working. I've got two different MMC cards, 256 meg one, a 1 gig one. I was playing around with both of them. I tried formatting them several times, playing with all the stuff. What's actually happening is, when you download the ROMs, they basically come in, there's like 3 or 4 files in the top level, like N-Gage starter or game.id files. Then there's like a system folder, which from what I could gather from all the very little, there's nothing online about them hardly. You know, you're supposed to copy the system folder into the system straight away, straight copy and paste straight onto the MMC card, which it sets up when you plug the thing after you format it. But files have copied across just fine. You get the icon then appears when you put the card into the phone. It runs it, but then you get either MMC is corrupt error message or invalid game card. I mean, I was spent ages online trying to find something, and then there was an odd comment thread that they were taking. If that's just like might be a dump of the original card, in which case you need it cracked. But there are no mention of cracked N-Gage games online. So I don't know. I'm completely out of ideas. So by God, if anybody has any idea, please post in the comments below. I'm desperate, guys. Help me out. Yeah. Anyway, next up, let's move on to something else. I've been getting a few weird comments of late. I mean, I've done about 800 videos. I think I've actually about 850 I hit recently. You know, insane amount of videos, and I've been going since 2009. I keep getting these very odd comments from people saying, can you stop talking during your videos? I just want to see the gameplay. And you're just like, well, I'm not doing gameplay videos. I'm not really doing reviews. I'm just, it's me most of the time experiencing a game first off, or revisiting something I played when I was a kid and just nattering about it and chatting along and stuff. And it's just that I've not had many, I've just had a few comments, and I'm just starting to think, well, maybe other people are thinking that. It's like, what do you lot think? Should I stop talking and just put gameplay vids on? I mean, that just seems boring to me. Or should I put up my normal video and then do just a standard gameplay video at the same time? And I don't know, guys. What do you think? Stick it in the comments below. What's next? Oh yeah. I don't know if anyone's been playing it, but I did have a crack at that Pokemon Go over last weekend. It seemed a nice enough idea if you could get an actual server connection. I tried it several times. It was very problematic. I left it a couple of days, went back, exactly the same. I live out in the sticks a bit. You know, you don't get the best of mobile signals at the best of times. But it seemed, when I got to try it, it seemed like a lot of fun. And I've seen this a few times actually. This made me laugh the other day. I was coming back from the shop, and there were a load of kids like going up the high street, and they all had the mobile phones out. And when they're only pretty young, but one of them had like a big red cap on, and he had a Pokemon backpack on, and like this bright yellow. It looked ridiculous, and I just thought it was funny. And there must have been like 8 or 9 kids all out en masse to go and play Pokemon Go. And then on top of that, when I was, you know, messing around with it, the local park, which is about 10 minutes walk away, and that's the great thing about it, it gets you out of the house walking around. I had to wander up there, and where this point was, it's not just kids playing this, there's loads and loads of adults, and there must have been about 15 people all around this spot in the park with the mobile phones out, but they're actually talking to one another. saying, "Oh, I've been doing this and doing that," and you're just listening. I was just passing. I wasn't getting involved because I was just trying it out. But I think that's a great thing that you just don't think of. It's not just this single player game and stuff. It's there's a social aspect to it, and it's bringing people together, and it just seems to be such a huge hit. I think Nintendo's made about. I think it was at one point it was 14 million a day they were bringing in cash, and all the shares have shot through the roof. It's the kick up the backside they need really. They need to start earning some proper money again because the Wii U's just been a failure. So it's interesting to see that they took so long to get into the whole mobile phone market, and then as soon as they do, they make an absolute fortune right from the off. I mean, can you just imagine if they had a proper Pokemon game on like phones and iPads and all the rest of it, which was more social based and things like that, rather than just this collect? Because it's not really a Pokemon. I think it's been the company's cheated a bit and they've just rejigged one of their own old mobile phone games it's a Google Map rip off with collectathons on. But if they had a proper Pokemon, and the things they could do. Anyway, moving on. What did I do last weekend? I went to see Ghostbusters. The new one, the 2016 version. And when I go to see a film, right, something like this, there's probably been a couple of years where they've either done a remake or a reboot like this come along. And I went in that, and usually before I go and see a film like that, especially with this one, which has had so much negative press, I'll watch the original tie-in, it's a TV show or a movie, whatever, and I'll go into it and just think, well, because I've got it freshish in my mind. But I thought this was getting so much negative press, and I've not seen Ghostbusters the original for years, so it's vague in my mind. I remember bits and comedy quotes and stuff, so it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So I thought I'm gonna go in this clean, try and see it as fresh as possible, and not make it, get a bad opinion before I go in. So I think I went in pretty clear and good to go on it. And I thought the whole thing was terrible. I mean, it just, to me, my sense of humour, I suppose, I didn't get it. None of the jokes were funny. There was very, very few that really sparked with me. The story was just terrible. The CGI, I know that's been up and it seems to be a bit Marmite. I mean, as CGI, it did look actually quite good, but for the film as a whole, I don't think it worked. It was too. The ghosts just everything was just too blue. that sounds. It just had a weird edge to it, and I just didn't get on with it. But yeah, no, I'm not doing a movie review. I suppose I didn't enjoy it. I really just did not get on with it. I only think maybe one or two of the cast were. The plot was just terrible. They're supposed to be in the original film, because I've watched it since I've seen this. It was all about building a business. There was none of that. There was none of the day-to-day stuff, and none of it felt real. It just felt like an over-the-top cartoon. That sounds very weird, but I did not enjoy it. I thought it was a bad film, but you might do. It seems to be doing fairly okay in the cinema. So, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but that's up to you. The other thing is, I think I've mentioned it. I managed to get a Wii, and about 2 weeks ago, so it might have been in the last vlog. I spent last weekend really, setting it all up, putting ROM files on stuff and playing with the emulators and things, and I've had a fair bit of fun from that really. I mean, it's I got it for free at the end of the day. And it's turned into the equivalent of me Retron 5. So I think I'm going to start filming some retro gaming footage from that in future, just because it's so much handy. Before I was trying to use a laptop, but I've not been happy with the quality I've got out of that. I mean, my Game Gear games, they were okay, but the audio quality just wasn't very good. But anyway, we'll see how we go with that. We'll see what happens. Finally, I've been watching this show on and off for a couple of years. It's a Japanese show called Game Center CX. Absolutely awesome show. I went off it about 12 months ago because I'd watched so many. And I just got back into it the other day because it's been literally like a year since I last watched an episode, and I made it as far as episode 80, and I think there's about 160, 170 that are currently available online. If you want to watch it online, I mean, it's freely available it's all subtitles, but it's just literally just search Game Center CX, and I think the first site that pops up, just go there and you can see them all online. But anyway, absolutely fantastic show. The host he seems to be, he's like a Japanese comedian who was fairly famous when he got involved with the show about, God, it must be around about 2005. And when it started off, it was just he played like Famicom, NES, SNES, Genesis type, Mega Drive type games, and as I say, you're watching it through subtitles, but the humour is quite subtle. It's very clever. Sometimes it's a bit cheeky and it's a bit rude. I love it to bits. It's very subtle at times. Some of the challenges are absolutely amazing. It's he always challenges himself to do a complete run through of the game if possible. I mean, some of them he loses, but yeah, I'm just having a bloody good fun of it. I watched Mega Man 3 the other night. And it took him 2 episodes to do. They don't show it 100% of all the footage, like some of these, and each game takes like 1 show usually, unless it's something special. Like Mega Man 3 was something special, and there was one I was watching last night, which was Super Goyen Osan, I think, which was like a SNES puzzler. And it basically, I think it took him about 14-15 hours to complete, and it was tough as anything. It was like a Lemming style single screen block puzzle. It was a fantastic game, and I've been playing it a bit myself today. I've enjoyed it immensely. But that's the other thing, you get, because all these Japanese games you just have no idea about, they've not come out in the West, you get to see all that. On top of that, he also does a fair bit where he goes around like some of the companies or gets guests on and stuff. And the other great thing about it is he goes out around basically all of Japan. So when in the early days of the show, it was basically based around Tokyo, and he'll go to like these like candy shops which have got all these arcade machines in, and these stores that sell the old games and stuff. Now, as the show's gone on in years, they've pushed out further afield, and it's interesting because you get to see a whole side of gaming that was just very Japan focused. In my mind, gaming didn't really take off until the 80s for me, like all the arcade and stuff. But you actually get to see all these arcade machines from like 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they're not really like, they're all like real like balls and little sticks and things, and all mechanical levers and stuff like that, going back years and years. It's a fascinating show anyway. But anyway, so I'd recommend it to anyone. But yeah, I think that's enough for now. I've not every year off. I'm desperate for help on the Engage QD side. So if anybody can offer any advice, guys, please post it below. As always, thanks for watching, and please look forward to another video soon.